Have you ever watched the person you love become a complete stranger right before your eyes? I saw it happen on a Tuesday, not in some dramatic outburst, but in the cold blue glow of her phone screen at 2 in the morning. Sarah was sitting up in our bed, the dim light carving shadows under her cheekbones. She was smiling. It wasn't a smile for me. It was a secret, private thing. I asked who she was texting, and the smile vanished, replaced by a mask of annoyance. Just a friend from work, David. God, can't a person have some privacy? The screen went dark, but the image of that smile was burned into my mind. That was the first crack in the foundation of our life, and I knew with a certainty that chilled me to the bone that I was standing on ground that was about to give way. If you genuinely enjoy our stories, please subscribe to the channel. Tell us where you're from and what time it is right now. It's always fascinating to know how far our story flows. For 10 years, I thought we had it all. A brownstone in Lincoln Park, Chicago, weekends by the lake, a life built on what I believed was mutual trust and affection. I was a software architect. She was a rising star in marketing. I gave her everything. My loyalty was absolute. My support unwavering. Then came the late nights at the office, the work dinners that I was never invited to. She started dressing differently, a little more expensive, a little more revealing. When I'd compliment her, she just shrugged, her eyes distant. "It's for a client presentation," she'd say, the words feeling rehearsed. She became cold, a beautiful, manipulative statue in our home. The warmth we once shared had evaporated, leaving a bitter chill. Her affair partner, I would later learn, was Mark, a smug financial analyst from her firm. They felt untouchable, wrapped in the arrogance of their secret. The discovery wasn't a single event, was a slow, agonizing drip of evidence. A credit card receipt for a dinner for two at a ridiculously expensive restaurant on a night she was supposedly working late. A stray text notification that flashed on her car's display screen last night was incredible. From a number not saved in her phone, I started digging. I was methodical. I felt like a detective in my own life, searching for a truth I wasn't sure I wanted to find.
Ow.
The emotional toll was crushing. One night, after she'd canceled our anniversary dinner for a last-minute work emergency, I found myself parked across the street from her office on North Michigan Avenue. Her car was gone. I sat there for an hour, the engine off, just feeling the hollowness in my chest expand until I couldn't breathe. I broke down, right there in the driver's seat of my car, silent tears streaming down my face. The loyal husband was dead. A different man was born in that moment, a man who would seek not just answers, but retribution. My grief hardened into a cold, calculated resolve. I hired a private investigator, a former cop with tired eyes who knew the city's secrets. He was worth every penny. He gave me photos Sarah and Mark leaving a boutique hotel on Rush Street, their hands intertwined. He gave me timelines, dates, locations, but I needed more. I needed something undeniable, something that would shatter their world as completely as they had shattered mine. And then I found it. Going through our joint accounts, I noticed a series of small, recurring payments to the City of Chicago Parking Violations Bureau. They were for a car I didn't recognize. A quick search of the license plate led me to Mark. The tickets were all issued for the same location, the Visitor, a parking lot of a luxury apartment complex in the Gold Coast. His apartment complex? Sarah had been using her own credit card to pay his parking tickets. It was sloppy, it was arrogant, and it was the key. I set the trap. Waited for our annual charity gala, a high-profile event her company sponsored. Sarah loved the spotlight. She would be there, radiant and untouchable, with Mark lurking in the background. I spent weeks preparing. I contacted a divorce attorney, one of the most ruthless in Chicago. He drew up the papers, citing adultery with irrefutable proof. I liquidated certain joint assets, moving my own finances into a secure, separate account. I compiled a package, the PI's photos, copies of the hotel receipts, the text messages, and the piece de resistance, the paid parking tickets from his apartment complex, linked directly to her credit card statements. 8. I made copies for her CEO for the event's board of directors, and for a few select gossip columnists I knew would be there. The night of the gala, she was breathtaking, in a shimmering silver dress. She greeted me with a kiss on the cheek that felt like ice. "You look handsome," she said, her eyes already scanning the room for more important people. I just smiled. You too, Sarah. You look unforgettable. We were standing with her CEO and a few board members when I decided it was time. I turned to her, my voice calm and clear, loud enough for everyone in our circle to hear. You know, Sarah, I was going through our finances. I could unhelp but notice all those parking tickets from Mark's apartment complex you've been paying. You should really tell him to be more careful. She stopped cold. The champagne flute in her hand trembled. Every drop of color drained from her face. Her eyes, wide with panic, darted to Mark, who was standing a few feet away and had frozen mid-conversation. The CEO's smile faltered, his eyes flicking between Sarah, Mark, and me. The air crackled with the unspoken question. In that moment of perfect, horrified silence, a man in a crisp suit approached our group. "Sarah Connors," he asked, holding out a thick envelope. "You've been served." It was my lawyer's process server. As she numbly took the divorce papers, my own messenger began distributing the other packages to the CEO and the board members. The whispers started instantly, spreading through the room like a virus. Her social and professional world imploded in the space of 30 seconds. She was ruined, publicly and completely, exposed as a liar and a cheat in front of everyone she had tried so desperately to impress. She just stood there, a statue once more, but this time, a shattered one. I didn't stay to watch the fallout, simply turned and walked out of the ballroom, leaving the ruins of our life behind me. The last I heard, she was fired, and Mark was transferred to a dead-end branch in another state. They lost everything. I moved out of the city to a small, quiet house by the water. Sometimes, late at night, I look out over the dark lake and think about that smile on her face in the glow of her phone. It was the last time I ever saw her happy.